And today we are cooking with Thunder Bay. Today we're going to make a dish that's so popular with guests that it has been on the restaurant's menu ever since it opened 15 years ago.
That's right. The seafood fondue is so delicious that I want to drink it like soup. It's that good. Just a few little shrimp chunks in there. All right, Chef Mike Stigler is here to show us how he makes it, tell you where you can find this wonderful summer dish.
Good morning, ladies.
What's up, Mike?
Well, we're going to do the do today.
Yeah.
Do the do. Yeah,
we're doing the do.
Get it.
We are going to be out at some off-site festivals coming up, and we're going to be making seafood fondue. We're going to be up at the EAA in Oshkosh. We're going to be doing the Taste of Lake Country out in Pewaukee.
Zoo a la carte.
And, of course, the Zoo a la carte. And at each one of those events, we're going to have the seafood fondue. So I thought, why not do the seafood fondue on the blend today?
Let's do
Why
the
not?
do.
We're going to do the do.
All right.
So what we're going to start off with here is our saute pan, and in our saute pan we're going to put a little bit of margarine, and we're going to get that melting in there, and we're going to use this as the base to kind of saute off the inside part of our fondue, like all the stuff that's going to be inside of there aside from the cheese sauce.
Okay, now that's margarine, but yesterday we asked if you keep butter in the fridge or out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Where do you keep butter?
I keep butter out of the fridge.
Out of the
definitely.
fridge?
Because
There you
otherwise what I find is it doesn't get used, because if it's in the fridge it's hard, then you just have to use some spread or whatever. So I usually keep it out, and if you keep it wrapped in foil, you're going to be all right, and you're not going to have to really worry too much about any sort of bacteria growing in there. That's why a lot of times the old butter used to come kind of wrapped in foil. So just leave it out wrapped in foil and you'll be good to go. And plus it'll be soft and spreadable that way.
All right, so
Perfect.
you've got mushrooms in your pan
Yep,
now?
we got mushroom sauteing in there. To those mushrooms we're going to add a little bit of Cajun seasoning. Now Cajun seasoning is something that we use kind of frequently in our cooking out at Thunder Bay because it adds a lot of flavor to the dish without adding too much heat. It's got a little bit of cayenne pepper in there, some paprika, a little bit of black pepper, some white pepper, some granulated onion, some granulated garlic. So it's got all kinds of really good stuff going in there to add a lot of flavor and a little bit of color also. So we got our mushroom sauteing in there, and frequently throughout the process of making this, I'm going to feed this stuff a little bit of wine, a little bit of sherry cooking
There you
wine.
go. It's
Our
thirsty.
sherry likes to add a little bit of flavor to stuff, and it also adds a little bit of color. And anytime you add wine to something, you don't want to dump it in there, kind of slosh it around a little bit, toss around what you're cooking, and that'll give the stuff in the pan a chance to kind of start to absorb the flavor, and it'll also kind of release anything that starts to stick to the bottom. Doesn't that smell good?
Yeah.
All right, so here, once those mushrooms get sauteed, we're going to add in some of our seafood. Now, the seafood that we have here is crawfish. And it's shrimp. So these are like Louisiana crawfish tails right here that you got. And then these are Gulf shrimp that are all chopped up nice and small so that there'll be plenty to kind of disperse out throughout the fondue as that cooks up. So we're going to go ahead and set that off to the side, get this all sauteing around a little bit more in there, and then I'm going to add another pinch of Cajun seasoning in there just to kind of make sure that we get all the seafood seasoned up really nicely too, and let that go. Now, you notice we're not adding any more margarine or anything like that into here because, there's already going to be a pretty fair amount of dairy in the cheese sauce that we're going to put in there. So we don't want to get,
let's talk about that cheese sauce. What is in it?
Cheese sauce. Well, this cheese sauce is made up of, I feel kind of decadent even telling you what's all in this cheese sauce.
I'm sure.
It is heavy cream. It is American cheese, a little bit of cheddar cheese, butter and flour together to make a roux to kind of help thicken it up.
Yeah.
And then we've got a little bit of salt, some white pepper in there so that you don't have any sort of, black flakes or anything like that in there. And then we just kind of let it simmer. And that American cheese really gives it that really nice, creamy, delicious texture. That's, pretty much anytime I'm making a cheese sauce, I'll usually, throw a couple pieces of American in there because it's made to melt, It's kind of like Velveeta,
I was going to say that.
I know. I could see it was simmering under the surface, the Velveeta. You make it at home, you put some Velveeta into a little pan with some milk and just keep it on low and stir it up, and it just melts out. American cheese does that same kind of thing with the texture. So now we're going to go ahead and marry these two together. So we've got our cheese sauce here. We're going to go ahead and add that right into our simmering seafood and our mushrooms and all that good stuff that we got going in there. And we're going to let this kind of cook together real briefly so that all those flavors kind of blend. So we're going to go ahead and stir this up, let that seafood and stuff kind of continue to cook for a brief minute so it gets cooked all the way through, and then we'll be ready to give it a try.
And I want to mention a couple of the places that you already said, Mike, where people can get this wonderful seafood fondue and check out the great cooking at Thunder Bay. They're on location, so to speak.
Yeah.
You're going to find them, first of all, at the Taste of Lake Country on Pewaukee Lake. That's in downtown Pewaukee, Friday and Saturday night from 5 until 10:30. So that's this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Then starting next week on Monday, July 28th through August 3rd, they have multiple dining areas set up at the annual EAA AirVenture, which is located in Oshkosh. And then we mentioned Milwaukee Zoo a la carte. That's August 14th through the 17th. It's their guest favorite, the seafood fondue that you can check out at all those places. And again, we're making it here today, and I'm just about to taste it. So be sure to find Thunder Bay at those great events coming up.
And here's where you can find Thunder Bay as well. They're in Pewaukee, so you can head on out and check them out right on 94 and 164. ThunderBayGrill.com is the website. Check it out, Mike. You outdo yourself every time. Go check it out at these festivals. The best ever.
We're going to try two
I just
here.
need a spoon, really.
I got you a big one. Look at the size of that
Thank
spoon
you.
I brought you.
There we go.
I brought that with you in mind.
All right, up next.